Welcome to the ANEW Insight Podcast, empowering and inspiring your journey to optimal health. Hosted by Dr. Supatra Tovar, clinical psychologist, registered dietitian, fitness expert, and author of Deprogram Diet Culture. Rethink your relationship with food, heal your mind, and live a diet-free life. I follow my guests' journey to optimal health, providing you with the keys to unlock your own wellness path. Tune in and evolve with us. Welcome back to the ANEW Insight Podcast. We're back for the second half of our interview with TEDx Temecula speaker, founder of the Phoenix Effect and nervous system coach, Beth Bishop. Beth gave us some really amazing insight into her highly effective and very simple method for tackling stress and anxiety. I cannot wait to pick her brain some more. Beth, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
So excited. I love talking about this stuff because this is all like practical tools for people, ways to increase their awareness and to optimize their health in so many ways. So let's ask this question first. What misconceptions do you frequently encounter about stress, productivity, or emotional resilience that actually keep people trapped in survival mode?
I think the biggest one I see in high achievers, it's like this badge of honor. I have a lot of clients who are high-powered attorneys, and they talk about their billable hours and how much they worked, and and it's just the opposite of that.
The billable hours thing, I see that in a lot of my clients,
Yep.
my lawyer clients especially.
Yep.
And I think that they, driving through and pushing through,
Yep.
I think that's what keeps them in survival
Oh,
mode.
yeah. The other thing too, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing that the biggest misconception that I see around stress is that we think it's something that we can think our way out of, that we
Yes.
can push through,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And I think a lot of people too tend to equate their worth with
Mm.
productivity.
Yes.
What do you
Agree.
see in that realm?
Oh my God, that used to be my whole life. It's like if I don't do enough billable hours, if I don't get this project, if I don't get the next promotion, the next thing, then like all of a sudden I'm less than.
Mhm.
And they're willing to sacrifice their health to do that.
Yes. So how does one break out of that survival mode? Even if they have a job, they have to do these billable hours, they don't
Mhm.
have much of a choice.
Mhm.
What what can help them create some balance?
I think the first exercise to do is just really realize how you are using your time and what your priorities are in life.
Mhm.
So a really interesting exercise that one of my coaches first gave me, and I love to use with my clients, is you take a sheet of paper and you write down all the ways that you spend your time, whether it's work or with family or friends or going to the gym or going to the grocery store, whatever it is. And you make each piece as big as you think the time takes.
Mhm.
And then you take a look at that and you go, okay, is that really true? Am I spending this much time? Oh, actually, no, I'm kind of underestimating what I'm doing for work. It's more. And then you
Mhm.
take a look at that whole thing and you go, wow, this is your life. Do you like it?
Wow.
Do you like it? And then the other thing, because that helps people really see like, this is how I'm spending my time. Then the other thing I ask is, what kind of experiences do you want to have in your life? Truly. Not
Mhm.
what goals you want to hit, but what kinds of experiences do you want to have?
Yes.
And they take a look at that map of their life and I say, okay, looking at your life right now, those experiences that you want to have, does that life equal that?
And usually they're like, "No."
Usually it's like, no, it doesn't. And then that's where that awareness comes in. And that's where you can make that change and say, okay, I don't know how yet, but I know that I want something different for myself. That's very, very important. It's a
Yes.
choice. Stress is a choice. Burnout is a choice. You can be in a high powered career and you can still have time for your interests, your family, your friends,
Mhm.
and your health. Because the fact of the matter is, if you don't have a body, you don't have a career.
Mhm. Well, I think too, we're coming out of an age, we see this with women more than men, and we have been conditioned to think that we not only can do it all, but have to do it all. Meaning we have to have a career, and then you're not a real person if you don't have kids, and
Yep.
you need to be the one who carries the entire mental load of the household,
Mhm.
meaning you know exactly when the kids need to get picked up, and you're the one coordinating it all the while. You might have a partner who's just like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo," I'm not doing anything. And those are a lot of the people that come into my office,
Right.
completely jacked up, burned out,
Mhm.
stretched as thin as possible. And I like to also do the same kind of a similar kind of exercise, really looking at, what exactly is your role in all of these situations?
Mhm.
What exactly is it?
Awful.
Are you the one who is supposed to do all of these things? Or is
Yes.
the family supposed to also come in and help you? So, really clearly defining somebody's role is so powerful for them. And then making that priority list like you're talking about, is this fueling your life, or is that something that you can let go of?
Mhm.
Is that something that you can delegate out? Is that something that you can just completely eliminate? Really looking at the why of what you're doing. Say it's like, the mom was doing it all. What is driving you to be the head of the PTA on top of that?
Mhm.
Is that perfectionist people pleasing mode? Does that come from a deeper place? And if it does, maybe we can reformulate that into something that brings you joy, very similar to your work.
Mhm.
Are you enjoying any of this? And if you're not, then you got to really rethink that. Then I think it's really kind of reframing perfection. I had
Mhm.
a woman on my podcast who talked about progress over perfection.
Mhm.
Understanding and accepting that you can never really truly get it all done, but if you're heading in that direction, maybe that's good enough for today. And so
Mhm.
that running to-do list, okay, so if you don't get it all done, all right, well, try to get it done tomorrow, or maybe I delegate it out, or maybe I cross it off the list and I let it be and I let go. So,
You know what I do with my to-do list?
mm,
I look at it and I go, if I don't do this thing, is it going to hurt me? And if the answer is no, it's I don't do it.
yep,
Because I have that perfectionist person
me
inside of me.
too.
We all do, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of what we were conditioned to be like. There's a
Mhm.
really amazing book called The Confidence Code that talks about the gap between men and women in confidence, where women will over prepare, they will underestimate their abilities by about 30%, and men will overestimate their abilities by 30% and under prepare. How funny,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And so some of that just conditioning is really important to
Yes.
recognize that that's there. And then I
Mhm.
think, going back to what you were saying before about tuning into your body and that knowing, if something's not in alignment if you don't feel good.
Yep.
Yep. Basically, there's like 2 states of being. You're regulated or you're dysregulated. When you're
Mhm.
regulated, you move forward. When you're dysregulated, you're not. When you're regulated, you're more likely to be in alignment. When you're dysregulated, you're way likely to not be, more likely to not.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think that having all of that awareness, especially if you are a high achiever and you really want to do these things, having the awareness of what doesn't serve you and what does serve you, also doing what you love no matter what, and envisioning yourself being able to do this
Mhm.
helps you to transition from that people pleaser survival mode, uh, high achiever perfectionist, to the one that is purpose driven,
Mhm.
powered by what they want to do. And that purpose driven person is also going to prioritize their self care. They're going to prioritize their mental health, their well being, time with family and friends, and realizing that
Mm.
pursuing the job alone without any of those things does not bring any happiness
Nope.
and keeps them in that survival mode.
Can I tell you a
So,
story really
yeah,
quick
please
about
go ahead.
after I listened to your talk, I was really, like, reflecting a lot about my own relationship with, like, food and diet culture. And I was like, "Oh, when you were talking about your journey, I was like, this sounds a lot like my journey." And you actually inspired me. And
Oh.
I decided to start cooking more, and I decided to go to the farmer's market every weekend and just buy the things that bring me joy. So I call it high vibe fridge. You inspired this. And and now it's not about, like, restriction. I'm, like, looking at all these rainbows of food and amazing things that may bring me joy. And now food and cooking it's about joy. It's not about I need to get in these vegetables because health.
Oh my gosh, Beth.
You inspired that. So,
That is beautiful.
but, like, yeah, I was like, "Man, I'm feeling, like, kinda yuck." I've been stressed, I've been doing all my things, but, like, there's always room for improvement. So,
Oh my gosh, and I think this is a difficulty with so many high achieving women as well, is that they really believe that they have to have this perfect body. So
yes.
they will try to do it at all costs despite, complete stress and burnout. And I like to help people find their way back to their energy
Yeah.
and help them reformulate their idea
Mhm.
of the good and bad foods, reducing that and seeing food as nourishment and fuel for energy. And when you really tap into the body, and this is why I love you going to the farmer's market because it's like the happiest place on earth, and cooking, especially when you are actually really tuning into your body and you don't have any restrictions, right? You say
Mhm.
anything's on the table. Anything. It could be from the, most ultra processed food to the straight out of the ground farmer's market vegetable. Let it all be on the table
Yeah.
and tune in to your body. How does your body feel when you've had, a bag of Cheetos, sorry, Cheetos, or a bag of whatever highly processed thing? If you've had an entire like giant bag, how does your body feel? Like, after like the first couple of bites, first couple of bites, you're like, "Mm, this is all good, right?"
Mhm.
But after a few more and a few more and a few more, and then you really, really check in with your body's like, hello, lady, please, no more. What are you doing? You feel
Mhm.
horrible, right? Then you gauge how you feel after you've made your own delicious meal from the farmer's market. Everything is close to the ground. And I'm not saying that that's what you have to eat. I'm saying put it all on the table, but ask your body how it feels after you've had that.
Mm. I think, yeah, what
And
you and I both teach people to do is to respond from this place of, like, I'm doing this because, like, I care about myself and I love myself,
Mhm.
not I'm punishing myself to get to some other person's expected level.
Exactly. And I think on top of that, it's you becoming your own best expert on your body,
Mhm.
right? Because there are some days you're going to want that farmer's market, your body's going to be like, I need all of the vitamins. Give me I need the vitamins. I need the fiber. And then there's some days where your body's like, but I would love to have some mashed potatoes. And you go and you have mashed potatoes and you feel how that feels in your body. And you trust when your body says, hey, that's just the right amount of mashed potatoes. Let's stop there.
Mm.
And when you do that, I tell you, every client that I have helped to find food freedom with has described it as liberation.
It is.
Liberation, and the liberation is from disordered eating or eating disorders. It can be from that relentless restrictive pursuit of perfection,
Mm.
and what I find for most of them is that they naturally find their way back to whatever their best body is, whatever's right for them. They just naturally do that, and they're not dieting, they're not restricting, they're not punishing themselves. That's like, to me, it just by listening to your body, you can achieve that.
Yeah. It's using more of this feminine energy, of,
Mhm.
like, just listening, allowing, tuning
Yes.
in to what, like, brings you joy instead of the, "I have to do this." if I don't do this, then XYZ. It allows for so much more to come in and it allows for like more growth and open-mindedness. So I wanted
Yes.
to thank you for that gift because
Uh,
it's been really wonderful just enjoying my food in a new way. And I'm 41.
Love. I'm so happy to hear that, like, you have no idea how that fills my heart to hear something like that. Well, let's let's talk about a breakthrough story
Mm.
from anybody that you've worked with. Give me like your most inspirational client or workshop or something that really continues to inspire you and reminds you of the impact of your work.
Honestly, the project that I just wrapped up with SoCal Gas was so inspiring. It lit my heart on fire. I wanna just take this everywhere. We
Mhm.
did a 28-day stress reset, and it was all about leadership, right? So all these people are coming in because they wanna be better leaders. They wanna have an edge. They wanna be the best,
Mm,
and it was so amazing just working with all of these leaders, going through how to build better habits in the morning, how to deal with acute stress in the moment, right? How to set yourself up to have great restful evenings and like have disconnect from work.
mm.
And the really cool thing about that was just so inspiring is that we did a stress assessment at the beginning and then we did a stress assessment at the end. And the average score went down by 50%, right?
Oh my
And that
goodness.
was so exciting because the tools that we did took maybe an extra 15 minutes a day. That's it. So 1% of your day changing 99% of your day.
Wow, give us some of those tools. What are some of them?
Yeah, so the first set of tools is slaying your AM vampires. You're gonna drink some water in the morning. You're gonna have some movement. You wanna get into some light if you wake up before the sun comes up. You wanna have some kind of sun lamp.
Mhm.
You're gonna put your phone down.
Mhm.
And you're gonna have intentionality in the morning, some kind of
Yes.
routine, something that allows you to like, like old school computers when they boot up, they take like a minute or so. That's kind of your brain. Your brain needs that time to wake up.
Absolutely.
So so much of that stuff is like what not to do. Just use your time in a different way, and that makes such an impact,
Yes. Do
right?
you suggest people try to align a little bit better with their circadian rhythms? Maybe getting up earlier in the day, just following what their natural wake up time is? What do you suggest with
Well,
that?
that's not always possible for some people, right? But having sleep consistency is really important. Going to
Mhm.
bed at the same time and waking up around the same time, I think is
Mhm.
more important than what time of day you're getting up. And just
Mhm.
realizing that, in the morning you have your cortisol awakening response,
Yes.
right? It wakes you up. Your cortisol naturally gets high in the morning. So another one of the things that we do in the morning is not have coffee within the first hour because you don't
Mhm.
need extra cortisol. And it
Right.
actually hurts your cortisol awakening response. So you don't
Mhm.
wake up, your brain doesn't boot up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
that's
had one of the lead researchers in circadian rhythm
cool,
come
cool.
on the podcast, and I'm really interested in that on, kind of from an evolutionary perspective. That's why I kind of asked about time and about the circadian rhythm. And he did say the most important thing is the consistency, figuring out what your sleep time is and being really consistent with that, and if you add in the circadian part, what's so interesting to me is that, if you look at evolution of the human species over time, we were basically getting up at first sunlight and going to bed at when the sun would go down. And those for obvious reasons. We didn't have electric lights, we had to hunt and gather. We eventually had to farm in the morning. And so when you look at that from a physiological perspective, we kind of gotten outside of that, and you can see the health detriments of that. If
Mhm.
people are, staying up super late and getting up really late in the day, you see a lot of the physiological effects, difficulties with like, insulin resistance, weight gain, you see a lot of sluggishness, you see a lot of, lack of mental clarity, difficulties with falling asleep later in the night. And so, trying to get a little bit more aligned with circadian rhythms, whatever that time is, as long as it's kind of in the morning,
Mhm. Yeah,
earlier in
after
the morning,
10.
right? And then also realizing that we have better uh, facility of our energy stores in the morning to the early afternoon. So a lot of people, what they'll do, and this is, just kind of um, a little free tip out there. If you're really struggling with your weight, a lot of people will hold off on breakfast as long as possible.
Oh,
They'll wait until like, noon, and they've heard like, oh, it's I'm intermittent fasting. Well, I had the guy who's the guy who, basically talks, introduced time restricted eating on this podcast. And yes, we have to be mindful of when we're hungry, but
mhm.
what we're seeing is that if you have your bigger meals earlier in the day to the
Yep.
middle of the day
Yes.
and reduce the size of your meal towards the end of the day, you are going with your body's natural insulin production,
Yes.
and you also do not have to restrict carbs at all,
No, that's cool.
especially in the morning. I mean, we're talking better use of carbs are whole foods, like whole grains and plants and fruits and things like that. But having that earlier in the day can really power you through the day.
And it's gonna help you reset your nervous system, right? Because if you eat
Yes.
really late in the day, you are taking all of that all that food has to get digested, you know?
Yes.
It can
Yes.
and you're taking away valuable resources that will help restore your body.
Exactly.
We have it so
Like,
backwards. We have sugared cereal in the morning and then a giant meal, like, 2 hours before bed. What are we doing?
exactly. So if you think about it, and you think about it in terms of like GLP-1 and your GIP
Mhm.
production and everything, starchy carbohydrates are one of the things that help create these hormones the most. So if you're having, a big hearty breakfast in the morning with, say, it's like oatmeal with like lots of berries and blah blah blah, you're creating that, and you stay less hungry throughout the day. You're creating more of this GLP-1 naturally.
Wow.
Naturally, you will lose weight. So I love tips like these that you've given at your workshop on how to really kind of maximize the morning. How do people then minimize at the end of the day? How do they slow down? How do they get into that
Mhm.
restful, digestive state in the evening?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I think it kind of starts at the end of your well, it starts in the workday too, right? So nervous system regulation happens all throughout the day. We're
Mhm.
like a pressure cooker and the steam builds and builds and builds. So we have to let it out. We're having
Mhm.
those regular movement breaks where you're stop dropping and regulating, checking in with yourself throughout the day help a lot.
Yes.
Everybody needs to have a workday shutdown ritual. Period. Yep.
Yes.
So mine has 3 parts. One is I do a brain dump of all the things that I'm thinking about. There's been so much research around just writing things down and how it allows you to be less stressed and anxious later on. So you just write it
Yes.
down. That's for tomorrow you to deal with. That's step 1. Then I take a look at the wins. Like, what have I done today that has moved me forward? At the beginning of each day, I set my top 3 things I wanna do, and then at the end of the day, I will see if I did them, I'll give myself partial credit, I'll reflect, helps me get better at time management. Now
Yeah.
I'll clean up my desk because clean
That's great.
spaces make you less anxious, make you more productive,
Yeah.
okay?
I love
Then
it.
then I take a big breath and I go, "Whew, work is done today, I'm leaving it."
Wonderful. I love that.
Yeah. And then at nighttime, we start the process of really winding down like 3 to 4 hours before.
Mhm.
So I have a I don't do it every day, I'll be honest, but ideally you're cutting your screens off. you know?
Totally.
As early as possible so you avoid that blue light. You're doing things like stretching. Stretching helps to lower your cortisol and helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep
Mm.
faster. So just instead of just, while I'm laying down relaxing, I can do some yin yoga stretches. I can hold a little
Mhm.
stretch. Laying down on the floor, it doesn't have to be active. I'm not doing a power yoga set. I'm just being chill.
Yes.
And then there's a couple other I mean, there's so much we can talk about sleep hygiene, but one thing I really love too is to take a hot shower or a hot bath. So,
Mhm.
there's something about elevating your internal core temperature that once you get out of it, you actually allows yourself to cool down faster.
Yes.
Because your body temperature raises as you wake up, and then it lowers as you go to sleep.
Great. These are great ideas. Absolutely. And I think you're totally right. You have to have some whatever it is in the middle of the day. Like I have like back-to-back clients often.
Mhm,
And so I have 10 minutes in between and you can bet, well, of course I usually run and pee and all of that stuff, but
mhm.
there's going to be stretching, there's going to be moving. I also tend to dance in
Yes,
between because I'm carrying
good.
some heavy stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get it on my body. So I'll just do some goofy dance for my dogs or dance with them. And they're like,
Yes.
yay. And, or, get down on the ground with them and I roll around with them and, have fuzzy fur time. That is so key. And then the end of the day, you're so right. There is the most satisfying feeling for me is when I shut my laptop. I'm like, we're done. We are done. And that physical act of, and I like, do not take that thing with me
Mhm.
into wherever I'm going. Absolutely. Screen stuff, you're totally right, is really hard. But here's some tips for people. And this is coming from that
I'm gonna write this
circadian
down.
rhythm, Dr. Panda, who was on the podcast. We are pretty bad about that, but there are also filters
Mhm.
that you can put on your devices. There's a red color filter that you can put on there. And I tend to keep my devices on night shift all the time.
Whoa, cool.
So I'm in front of a computer almost all day, every day. I'm not absorbing so much of that blue light if I have it on night shift all day. Also, you can get fancy glasses just want to wear when I'm with my
Yes,
clients. You get
totes.
fancy glasses that are blue light blocking. And that has helped my sleep tremendously. So if you are that person that's always in front of a screen like I am, there are ways that you can do this, and even at night, if you are on your screens, it's not gonna be that big of a deal if you've got those filters. Oh, Beth, there's so much more I wanna ask you when we are out of time. I would love for you to tell people how they can get a hold of you, how they can work with you, how they can go to your gym, like, give all the info.
Oh my goodness. Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Beth Bishop. You can find me on Instagram, the Beth Bishop with two E's, like Megan the Stallion, because she's my hero. And um, and also you can go to beth-bishop.com. And if you want to learn more about the Phoenix Effect, you can go to phoenixeffectla.com.
Yes, and she is in LA, just so you all know. But I am sure if you are just really itching to have one of those SoCal type workshops, Beth will come to you. I betcha.
Oh, 100%. I'd love to travel.
Oh my gosh, Beth, you're the best. I am so grateful to know you. And I know we're going to be lifelong friends. I have this feeling that we're going to be hanging out a lot since we are both LA ladies.
We're so
And we
lucky.
will, yeah, I know. It's so awesome. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast, Beth.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yay. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I am looking forward to the next exciting interview. And I really hope you join me next time. Thanks for tuning into the ANEW Insight Podcast. Please remember the contents shared on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. You can find us anywhere podcasts are streaming, on YouTube at my.anew.insight and at anew-insight.com under the ANEW Insight Podcast tab. And follow us on our socials at my.anew.insight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more updates. Tune in next time and evolve with us.